The movie opens with a family of 4 relocating to a new home purchased by the father, Akiro and Ayashiki. He has worked really hard for years to afford this place, but despite this, his family does not appear to be happy because their new house is smaller than the rest of the neighboring ones. In an attempt to lighten the mood, he tells them he bought their favorite food, but no one pays attention. They instead go out for dinner, leaving Akiro behind to eat alone. It is evident that they don't seem to respect or value him as much as he deserves. The sad thing is that his children are even embarrassed to accept him as their father. Despite crossing his retirement age, Akiro still works hard at a company. Every morning, he goes through a very excruciating train ride to reach his workplace, but he is mistreated there as well. His boss constantly complains about his new project, which is trying to sell energy drinks but is losing money for the company. Akiro apologizes publicly, but his boss continues to yell at him. That night after work, as he is on his way home, he notices some robbers stealing from a man in a dark alleyway. Akiro thinks of helping the man but is too scared to act. As he proceeds to leave, he is spotted by his daughter, Mary, who insults him for being a coward. Later, when Akiro reaches home, he stays out for a while, lost in his thoughts. This is when a dog suddenly enters through the gate. It has a note attached to its collar, where the owner has requested the person who finds it to take care of the dog. The animal's name is also mentioned, Hanako. Before Akiro can react to this, his wife comes out and notices the dog. She immediately orders him to send it away, as she isn't a big fan of pets. Furthermore, she hands him his medical report, which states that he needs to undergo additional testing. Upon visiting the doctor the next day, Akiro learns some terrible news. He has stage 3 cancer. The disease has spread throughout his body and now he only has 3 months to live. A devastated Akiro tries to contact his wife and children, but they all ignore him. Even at dinner, he tries to tell his family members about his disease, but none of them pay attention. Later that night, Akiro takes Hanako for a walk, lost in thought about whether his family will grieve when they learn about his cancer. He then tries to abandon the dog and runs off to the park. But to his surprise, the loyal dog follows him. This makes Akiro realize that Hanako is the only one who genuinely cares about him, so he breaks down in tears and apologizes to the dog. Seconds later, he notices a man named Hiro, who is sitting alone and appears depressed. Akiro tries to approach him, but just then, a bright light in the sky is seen. It continues growing bigger until an object lands near them at incredible speed. Hanako manages to escape just in time, but the 2 men are thrown away by the impact. Before Akiro loses consciousness, he notices several humanoid figures in the distance. The next morning, Akiro wakes up to realize that he slept all night in the park. He tries to put on his glasses, but shockingly learns that he can perfectly sleep without them. Confused, he returns home and has his breakfast, only to discover that he can't taste anything. Soon after, Akiro feels a sudden thirst, prompting him to rush to the faucet and gulp a lot of water. But even after drinking like a madman, he is not satisfied. Thinking that his body is going crazy, Akiro excuses himself and goes to his room. But this is when things start to get weirder. Smoke starts coming from his hand, and when he takes off his shirt to check, his hand suddenly transforms into a machine gun. The shocked Akiro touches his throat, only for his head to open up and reveal a mechanical core. His entire body then undergoes a transformation, revealing mechanical parts inside. This means that Akiro is no longer a human, but a robot of some kind. Elsewhere, Mary is seen at school, and it turns out Hiro is her classmate. He is the same guy who was with Akiro when the strange object landed on Earth. After school, Hiro goes to his friend, Chaco, and reveals his power from the previous incident. It appears that he is able to shoot from a distance with his finger. He demonstrates this on a bird, killing it on the spot. After this, Hiro takes his friend to a parking lot and showcases how he can move cars with just his mind. Chaco is confused as to what's happening, so Hiro finally reveals his mechanical form. He declares that he is officially a superhero and no longer a human. On the other hand, things are completely different for Akiro. He is struggling to comprehend what's happening to him and instead believes he has become a monster. Things go from bad to worse, as at work, he is abruptly fired by his rude boss. This leaves Akiro in a desperate situation, as he was already under a lot of debt. He gets down on his knees and begs for a second chance, but the boss insults him further before walking away. Later, as Akiro is heading home from work, he notices an injured pigeon. Despite the complete mess his life has become, he tries to help the poor bird. In a shocking twist, as soon as he holds the pigeon, it gets healed miraculously and flies away. Akiro is trying to process what just happened when he hears the voice of a mother pleading with a doctor to save her child. Curious, he follows the sound and soon arrives at a hospital, where a 10-year-old boy is in the intensive care unit. Just like earlier, Akira places his hand on the boy's head and successfully brings him to consciousness. This leaves the mother and doctors stunned, as they have never seen a comatose patient recover so fast. Akira, meanwhile, walks out of there, overjoyed that he has saved the boy's life. At school, Choco is being bullied by some intimidators. Seeing this, Hiro grabs their leader and squeezes his hand tightly, causing him to wince in pain. He then demands that they apologize to Choco and return the money they took from him. The bully, who is down to his knees, starts crying and says he doesn't have the money right now. This enrages Hiro so much that he points his finger at the bully, just like he had done with the pigeon. But before he can shoot, Choco stops him, knowing how dangerous he has become. Meanwhile, all this is being witnessed by a silent girl named Shin, who has had a crush on Hiro. Later in the hallway, she musters the courage to confess her feelings for him, but he simply thanks her before walking away. It is then revealed that Hiro lives with his divorced mother because his father abandoned her for another woman. Despite the betrayal, his mother still cares for her ex-husband and wants Hiro to visit him frequently. He reluctantly obliges and heads to his father's house for dinner with his new family. There, he meets with his step-siblings who are always excited to see him. But Hiro can never like them back, as he is jealous of their happiness. He believes his father is an evil and self-centered man who could never make his mother happy. At one point, Hiro becomes so consumed with his thoughts that he points his finger at his father to shoot him. But he eventually backs out, as it would tarnish his mother's reputation. After dinner, as Hiro is walking home, he hears a nearby family celebrating together with happiness. This sends him off the edge, so he barges into their house and kills them one by one. It is evident that the newfound powers have started to corrupt his mind, and he no longer feels remorseful for his actions. In the meantime, Akira is at a hospital, using his abilities to heal sick children. Despite having no job and a family that doesn't love him, he appears to be very happy. All of a sudden, he hears a woman's pleading voice, so he rushes to follow it. Akira soon arrives at the house, which is the same one where the massacre had taken place recently. He finds the woman's dead body in the living room, so he desperately places his hands on her head and tries to revive her. However, Akira learns that even his abilities have limitations. He cannot revive someone that is already dead. Upset, he ventures inside the house, where he finds Hiro standing in front of the other bodies. Akira recognizes him from that fateful night, but before he can say anything, Hiro shoots him to snuff out any evidence. A few moments later, Akira gets up unharmed as he is basically a robot. He rushes outside to find the perpetrator, but Hiro has already left, and we see him flying away in the distance. The following day, the news is filled with reports of the horrific massacre, where an entire family was killed. The strange thing is that despite all the members being shot in the head, no bullets were found. On the other hand, Hiro meets up with his best friend, Choco, who asks if he's responsible for the massacre. Without a shred of guilt, Hiro admits it, and says he's not a human anymore. He also promises to always look out for his friend and be by his side. However, Choco is buying none of it, as he's starting to feel unsafe around Hiro. He thus ends their friendship and walks away from there, warning Hiro to stay away from him. The same night, Hiro returns home to further bad news. His mother reveals that she has been diagnosed with a devastating cancer and doesn't have much time left. She urges him to live with his father from the following month, as he will have a better life there. Upon hearing this, a heartbroken Hiro hugs his mother and sobs, claiming he won't let her die. Meanwhile, Akira returns home to discover his wife yelling at the children regarding their schoolwork. She becomes even more enraged when she learns that Akira is not going to work and is worried about their mortgage. As if that wasn't all, Mary also scolds him for being such a negligent father. She thinks that all he does is hang around and waste time, making their lives miserable. Following the outburst, Akira goes to his room and cries for not being able to support his own family. A short time later, he hears Choco's voice praying to stop his best friend from murdering more people. This is when Akira realizes that he must use his power to save people and vows to do so. He then carries Hanako, activates his rocket booster, and takes off. Later, he meets Choco in the park and they converse about the bright light that engulfed them. Choco concludes that Akira and Hiro must share the same abilities, so he decides to train the old man based on what Hiro could do. Early the next morning, they head to a parking lot where Choco urges Akiko to shoot Akin with his finger. The old man struggles initially, as it turns out he and Hiro have mastered different powers. Akira is adept at healing sick people while the young guy is good at killing. But after a lot of practice and motivation from Choco, Akira eventually manages to hit the can. On the other hand, Hiro and his mother go to the doctor and learn that her cancer has miraculously disappeared. Every single malignant cell in her body is gone without a trace. This makes Mom very excited and she believes a miracle has happened. But in reality, it was Hiro who used his powers to cure her, indicating that he's growing stronger by the day. Shortly after, as they are on their way home, they are stopped by police officers who want to interrogate Hiro about the previous murders. Realizing that he's been caught, Hiro makes a run for it, followed by the officers. At one point, they manage to corner him, so Hiro is forced to shoot 3 officers dead. He then turns on his jetpack and flies away from there, disappearing from their sight. The news of him being a murder suspect spreads quickly, and he's now a wanted fugitive in the country. Later, Hiro meets up with Shin and seeks her assistance, as she's the only person he can trust right now. The young girl doesn't know that he's the killer, so she agrees to let him stay at her place. It appears that she lives with her grandmother as her parents passed away due to illness. Elsewhere, it is revealed that Akira has improved his shooting abilities, but using his powers only makes him thirsty and tired. In order to quench his thirst, he drinks the energy drink from his company, but he soon shoots the liquid at Choco. This makes the latter believe that Akira may be unable to digest salty foods. Later that evening, Mero notices her father hanging out with Choco at the train station. This makes her suspicious as her dad rarely goes out with friends, let alone a young one. Smelling something fishy, she confronts Choco and demands to know what's going on. But he quickly fabricates a story, saying they met through online gaming. Mero is incensed to learn that her father has started gaming instead of finding a job, so she starts hating him even more. At night, Hiro learns from the news that his mother is being harassed by reporters. They have swarmed her house and are blaming her for what he did. The poor woman apologizes on behalf of her son, but everyone has a cold response towards her. Later, because of the constant media pressure surrounding her, she takes her own life in her apartment. Hiro soon finds out about this and breaks down in tears. The only person whom he loved in this world is now gone. A heartbroken Hiro then searches through the internet to find out more about the incident. He eventually comes across a community forum where people are openly bashing his mother. Many of them are happy that she's dead, even going as far as writing congratulatory messages. But what grabs Hiro's attention is a young man who admits to leaking her address to the public. Filled with rage, Hiro decides to take drastic action. He uses his powers and hacks through the young man's computer to confront him. The man initially laughs as he thinks this is a joke, but Hiro doesn't waste any time and shoots him repeatedly through the screen. After this, he hacks through several other people's phones who were criticizing his mother. He talks to them through their screens and shoots them dead. This causes absolute chaos throughout the country as no one knows how to stop him. One night, Shin learns that Hiro is unable to sleep, so she approaches him for assistance. It is at this moment Hiro reveals his true identity and admits to being the infamous murderer. Shin unexpectedly doesn't believe him as they have been school friends since childhood, but then he showcases his mechanical body, leaving him in complete shock. After this, Hiro grabs her in his arms and takes off into the sky. They travel through the city, and an emotional Shin tries to persuade him to stop all this madness. She explains that every single person he killed had a future of their own, but now that has been taken away from them. Hiro asks if she's afraid of him, but she responds that she's only afraid of losing him. This makes him realize that the world has turned against him except for Shin, so he assures her that he'll be with her forever. After an hour, they return back and Hiro is finally able to sleep. Shin stares at him for a moment before going to the kitchen to get some water. As she turns around, she sees a swarm of armed soldiers pointing their weapons at her. Just then, Hiro walks out, and as soon as he sees the soldiers, he grabs her, protecting her from the bullets. The soldiers keep firing at Hiro, but his robotic body keeps him safe. He then retaliates by turning around and firing back at them with utmost precision. In a matter of seconds, Hiro manages to kill every soldier in the room, which prompts him to breathe a sigh of relief. But guilt soon takes over him when he realizes that Shin's grandmother passed away during the conflict. Hiro anxiously checks his girlfriend, but his heart sinks when he sees that Shin has also died, with multiple bullets penetrating her body. This causes him to break down in tears as all of his loved ones are taken away from him. With nothing else to lose, Hiro decides to head out and murder anyone who comes in his sight. This is his form of vengeance. Meanwhile, Akira watches the news of the ongoing murders, so he asks his family members to stay home and not use mobile phones. However, as usual, no one listens and walks out. After a while, Mary gathers her friends and goes to the top of the tallest building in the city. She wants to enjoy the scenery and escape the chaos. Elsewhere, Hiro has come up with an even more devious plan to kill people. He hijacks a billboard and goes live in front of thousands of onlookers. Hiro reveals that a bunch of soldiers barged into his place last night and killed 2 innocent people. He then declares war on the country and says he will only stop when every single citizen is dead. After this, Hiro begins shooting the people through the screen, initiating a flood of deaths. Meanwhile, Akira, who is in the midst of his training session, hears the desperate screams of the civilians. He quickly realizes what's going on and rushes to help them. Back at Ground Zero, Hiro's live broadcast is interrupted by a news channel, where several reporters are talking about the incident. Soon enough, one of them gets a call and he nonchalantly picks it up. It turns out to be Hiro, who immediately shoots the reporter dead. This causes further panic and mayhem all across the country. Just when all hope seems to be lost, Akira manages to hack the network. Choco then goes live and advises everyone to get rid of their phones and computers. The plan seems to work as thousands of people immediately discard their smartphones to save their lives. When Hiro learns of this, he realizes that there is someone else with powers like him. So, he changes his tactic and launches a barrage of missiles towards the city's massive screens. Shortly after, Akira locates Hiro and tells him to stop killing people. When the evil villain refuses, Akira shoots at him, but this only makes him angry. To save himself, Akira begins to fly away, but Hiro follows him everywhere. During the chase, Hiro fires multiple missiles at him, but Akira manages to dodge them skillfully. He soon hears Mary pleading for help as one of the missiles appears to have struck her building. Alarmed, he heads to save his daughter, but Hiro slams him into the side of a building. The impact sends the old man crashing against a news helicopter which was covering the fight. Akira tries his best to save the reporters, but Hiro arrives there and shoots the pilot dead. Now, with the helicopter heading for a building, Akira grabs the last remaining survivor and barely avoids the crash. But as soon as he lands on a building, Hiro arrives and shoots the survivor dead. He then grabs a water bottle to recharge his system, which gives Akira an idea. The old man shoots at the bottle, blows it up, and whips out his own bottle. A desperate Hiro immediately attacks him and snatches the bottle away. He then gulps down the water, not realizing it has salt in it. After this, Hiro continues his onslaught, prompting Akira to fly higher in the sky. They soon reach outer space, where Hiro grabs Akira intending to end the fight. He is about to finish him off, but he fires water instead of missiles. This is because the salty water has infiltrated his system, rendering him weak. Eventually, Hiro's body malfunctions and Akira transforms his hand into a rifle to shoot him, throwing him back to the earth. Following this, Akira rushes to his daughter and finds her lying down unconscious. He uses all his strength and eventually brings her back to life. The father and daughter then embrace each other in an emotional reunion, and it seems the trouble is finally over. But Hiro arrives out of nowhere, with renewed strength. He has become so powerful that the salty drink didn't damage his body at all. With his pointed finger, Hiro then aims at every single survivor and finishes them off one by one. When it's Mary's turn, Akira intervenes and manages to push him away. But it's too late as the bullet penetrates her stomach. After this, Hiro beats up the old man like a rag doll, exposing his robotic head. Mary witnesses this from a distance and finally learns her dad's true nature. But she can only watch as the young Hiro punishes him even further. Once done, Hiro turns his attention towards Mary. He grabs her neck and starts dragging her towards the edge. Akira pleads with the young man to let her go, but an emotionless Hiro refuses. He yanks the poor girl and throws her off the building. Witnessing this, a fire ignites inside Akira and his body starts charging with overwhelming power. The old man then flies towards Hiro and collides with such brutal force that Hiro's body is obliterated to pieces. After this, Akira dives to save his daughter and barely manages to do so before she hits the pavement. He then employs his powers to heal her wounds and restore her consciousness. At last, Akira flies off, claiming that he needs to save more people. In the aftermath of this incident, the Meteor reports that Hiro has died, but his body was never recovered. Only fragments of his robotic parts were found at the scene. Meanwhile, we see Akira and his family having breakfast at home as life has returned to normalcy. His wife wonders who could have killed Hiro, meaning she doesn't know about Akira's identity. But Mary looks at her father, convinced that he is the true hero. In the final scene, Choco enters his room and is shocked to find Hiro alive, though missing an arm. Even after all that has happened, Choco is happy to see his friend alive and invites him to play video games, like they did in the past. He then starts setting up the game, but when he turns around, Hiro is gone. Perhaps Hiro finally realizes the weight of his actions and wants to distance himself from the people he cares about. If you enjoyed this movie recap, please like the video and comment below what movie we should recap next. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, then make sure to subscribe to our channel, and until next time guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care.